Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in. My name is Angel, and I'm in the practice of making more room for my natural soul's expression, and I invite you to come along with me. I never know what I'm going to talk about on these things. I just like to get quiet and see what comes up. I know that I've been kind of MIA with saying on recording that I was going to make videos every day a couple weeks ago. I ended up getting sick, and now I've moved. So hopefully now I can be a little more consistent. This was never about gaining followers or becoming an influencer. This is definitely more just like a in real time kind of practice to heal some visibility wounds and again, practice giving my natural soul's expression space to just be. So, with that being said, I kind of have a little bit of an idea of what I want to talk about, but I want to do it under the filter of no filter. So I like to get quiet and see what my soul has to say and see if she might help me articulate this cool stream of consciousness that I may or may not have for you. Okay. We love a good side quest. We love a good side quest. They're necessary. Growing up, I used to hear about the concept of the only thing inevitable is change, right? The only thing consistent is change. And people would say that in the name of trying to meet my or others' fear of said change. They would think that if the only thing consistent is change, then we should just buck up and get used to it, right? Get used to it. But I have come to find that each new level of change brings forth new levels of fear. I might not be too afraid to show up on YouTube anymore, but with newfound opportunities of like, let's say, public speaking coming up, there's still there's going to be some fear, right? Luckily, luckily I just went through the transition of moving, so I have a little bit of fresh mindset shifts and fresh reframes to pull from to assist with the next level of said change and of said fear. So before I made this move, there was doubt. There was a lot of internal dialogue attempting to make me feel small, not make the move, stay where I was. Um, And as I've said in previous videos, all in the name of wanting to keep me safe, right? Oh, we should just stay here. It's safe here. It's comfortable. It's known. It's comfortable and known, right? That's a little tidbit of like, how often do we confuse comfortability and familiarity with safety? Needless to say, the environment that has held me for the past few years and and got me to a certain place will not, how can it be the same environment that's going to help me level up or step into a new identity? If you want something different, you have to do different. I think we talked about that already, right? So I knew that, especially in my line of work of identity curating, identity shifting, and making more room for more versions of oneself and also all parts of oneself, that the environment definitely needed to change. So while the internal dialogue was there trying to quote unquote keep me safe, keep me small, and keep me in place, I knew darn well what I needed to do, right? But just telling the mind that, hey, we know what we need to do doesn't always work in um, combating or overruling the momentum that it has built. So it's a little by little, it's a step by step process, right? The doubt and fear that were coming in started to come in as like self-deprecating inner dialogue of like, thought you're not where you thought you should be at this age. It sucks that you have to move into something temporary. And the stories I was telling myself around moving into a temporary place was like, oh, this is unstable. This is not safe. It's embarrassing, all of these things. Those were the stories that I was telling myself about what living in a temporary situation means, therefore leading to doubt. Well, I don't know. I happened to be listening to an interview with one of Ariana Grande's um, producers. And when she got inspiration for Thank You Next, he said he received the text and he's like, I knew what I had to do. So I went and I set up camp. I got all the food, the champagne, the this and that, this, that. And for some reason, while I was listening to that, the phrase I set up camp really stuck out to me. Now, I didn't know why in the moment. My spirit often talks to me in that way. I wonder, how does your spirit talk to you? Sometimes it's song lyrics, movie quotes, lines, words. Camp really stuck out to me this time. So, as I'm trying to move through my self-doubt and trying to sift and sort through my stuff as one does before a move, I thought, why not treat this like a summer camp? Now, I've never been to summer camp, but I I kind of understand the gist of it, right? You are away from home, you're learning new people, you're learning new systems, you're learning new routines and rhythms and habits. You have part time in nature, you're learning new skills, survival skills, you're picking up new hobbies, you're listening to music, you're going to movie nights, you're doing summer activities, and and then in my case here, I would also be, setting goals and having so I'm huge on reverse engineering some of my goals down to what I need to be doing in a day in order to move forward with these things. So why not, Angel? If we are treating this like for the summer, I'm going to be living here, then let's treat it like camp so that each of my days can have equal parts whimsy and adventure. It's just a different place to operate from, right? Can you feel that? Can you feel the difference between, oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. Oh my gosh, I'm yeah, just embarrassed, just in that self-doubt. I'm not there anymore, so it's kind of hard to tap into that, but if I can empathetically tap into those emotions, it was yeah, humiliation, inadequacy, this weird sense of, oh, we're starting over again, especially as like a product of foster care, you know, through the divorce. It's like, oh my gosh, we're starting over again. But that's just not the case. It's not true. I'm not starting over again, right? I mean, all of those things are lies. And I can sit here and tell you the reframes, which were I'm not starting over again. I'm starting as a continuation of the work that I've done over the last 2 years, right? Um, there's nothing humiliating about having people that love you and want you in their space, right? It's not embarrassing to rent a little room where you can be creating your big dreams, right? There's no shame in that. And to be quite honest, this is the first time that I'm living with people in this way. It's much different than anything I've ever experienced in a lot of really great ways. So those lower vibrational feelings will did have me moving, even though I was moving forward with the plan, I was still moving from a place of just switch on for camp, treating this like summer camp. Now all of a sudden I feel lighter. I feel more adventurous. I feel curious and intrigued and excited, right? I'm even listening to reggae like I used to, right? So now every day feels like a little bit of a vacation. Um, and if and I've been able to stick to my schedules and routines. I've even started working out again. Like it feels like I'm living out loud for the first time in a long time. And so that not only pertains to how important environment is for your livelihood, but it also pertains to really being aware and intentional in which the the vibration in which you're creating from, in which you're moving from. And those are all like it can be big words that maybe you don't use on a daily basis. What What vibrational state am I currently in? And which vibrational state am I creating from? And I recognize that I'm operating from a survival mode or lower vibrational state. So I'm going to raise my vibration. Those might not be terms that you are comfortable with using. I know I'm woo. I know I'm part of a certain witchy community that, and a part of a community that feels like we need to be understood. So we want to use the correct words, but ultimately you don't need the correct words to figure it out. It really just boils down to how do you feel right now? I remember listening to like an Abraham Hicks something something talking about if we cared more about how we were feeling right now, not necessarily emotions, the way boomers like, ah, this generation's so in their feelings. I'm not saying like I feel sad, I feel happy. Yes, I am actually. Yes, I am. We should care about our feelings. Not let our feelings rule us, but caring about our emotional state so that we can make a shift if we're not happy. I was feeling heavy. I was feeling down. I was feeling ashamed. I was feeling guilty. And because I was aware of that, I was able to go in, flip the script, right? Flipping the script for me means like checking all the lies, seeing what's true, what else can be true, tuning into the possibilities, things like that. So flipping the script and then walking in lightness, walking in confidence, walking in surrender, walking in trust, walking in truly believing in who I'm becoming and what she needs in order to thrive. She needs a shift in environment. She needs music playing in the house. She needs giggles. She needs family dinners. She needs best friend a couple feet away. She needs those things. And she needs, whimsy. She needs structure. She needs nature. She needs all these things. So if I wasn't aware of my emotional state, then I would have just been drudging along. And if I'm creating a new experience in that energy, then I just know off of experience that I wouldn't be giving this new transition a fighting chance to be a positive experience. I thought this conversation was going to go in a different direction. I just came off of a really great conversation about side quests, but this was huge. This was big too. Being aware of our emotional state so that we can assess, really tune in. Do we like how we're feeling? Is it light? Is it heavy? Does it feel good? Does it not feel good? And then, making the changes to make it a positive experience for oneself. Because think about it this way, and I feel the need to defend this with the whole it's not spiritual bypassing thing, but I think you know that by now that I'm not sitting here with toxic positivity bypassing things in any capacity. I just processed some big emotion yesterday where I cried a couple of times and then I was like, okay, are we good now? Like, how does that feel in the body? And I felt lighter and I was able to move forward, but I had to sit with those emotions first. And sitting with those emotions allows me to further be comfortable tuning in so that I can give myself what I need to feel better. Now, one could end there and say it's important to tune in and be aware of one's emotional state so that we can feel better, period. And I still have a desire to take this now aligned version of myself and be in the community and assist and serve and thrive from that point. I feel the need to defend that yet again with like not out of martyrdom, more out of like if we are all one and we are all family and we are all part of nature, then why not utilize our skills, our life experiences, and selves to help raise one up, raise each other up. That also comes from, I got my mission at a very young age. I want to help raise the vibration of the planet. And it all just kind of comes back to doing exactly this right here. Practicing making space for one's natural soul expression so that I can give myself what I need and I can pour from a full cup. So, gosh, I can't even remember what I just talked about. I'm just going to get quiet and see what needs to come next. If I hadn't done the mindset shifts and the reframing, this would be miserable. I saw I saw a little bit of the point that I'm trying to make right now yesterday when the mind started telling me some stories and all of a sudden I wanted to play small. I wanted to hide from my roommates. I wanted to do all my things like my laundry, my cooking when they're out of the house and let me just stay out of sight, out of mind, let me play small. But if I don't, and if we don't, and if you don't, pull out the truth in what's really happening, check your own biases and your stories, then you'll stay playing small. I was able to be like, wait a second, wait a second. They're not thinking that. You're not a burden. You're not this, you're not that. And these are the type of people that I can actually have conversations with and like really fact check some shit and get checked. And that led to a beautiful day of like, you know, one of my roommates was uh doing her thing and then I'm in the house doing my thing. I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, we're both listening to music like it was lovely. And so even those two vibrations are completely different. Hiding, staying small, feeling like a burden, thinking that I'm doing them a favor by staying out of the way versus coexisting, living out loud. Just those two things are vastly different. And now I feel a little more connected to her, right? So it's very important to tune in, be honest, feel everything, and decide, is this what I want for me right now? Is this what I want for my life right now? And it's a practice. I don't always have tuning in at the forefront of my mind, but I get there eventually. And this is the practice, and I'm enjoying it. Let me see if there's anything else here. Sometimes I can just hear my spirit saying, thank you. Thank you for making space for me. Because, due to how my life has presented itself, the whole reason why this is important is because she's never had a space to just be, safety to just exist. So this is cool. She's grateful. And I kind of do want to talk about the side quest thing, but maybe I'll bring that up tomorrow or later. But Well, okay. It kind of can go hand in hand if you apply the divergent thinking that I have. Okay, let me get quiet. Hold on. If we can continue the practice of flipping the script, what we just described, of tuning in to the emotional state, deciding if that's what we really want, and then shifting things to make things more pleasant, then we would whittle down the fear that comes up when there is inevitable and consistent change around us, aka what I'm now calling side quests. One does not know where their life is going to go. And sometimes, oftentimes, life will present opportunities, network, people, places, and things that, kind of give us a little jolt or a call or a pull. And depending on if we can tune in and assess how that makes us feel or not, then that will depend on if we answer those little calls or not. And not to compare out of judgment or something being better than or worse than, but we know what it's like to stay stagnant. We know what it's like to stay small. We know what it's like not to answer those calls and really feel like we're missing out. I think that's what people can call, and it can manifest as regrets, right? Having regrets. Um, you know, whenever I hear the word regret, what comes to my mind's eye is somebody like, on their deathbed and they have regrets of not doing the things. And I'm here to say that I think the things they regret doing the most are side quests. You know how much value is in a side quest? So much. There's recently been a calling to do some public speaking. And I'm giggling. I'm like, "Oh, well, no wonder I was called to YouTube to practice ironing out some of these visibility wounds and articulating my thoughts of the fly and seeing where my what my spirit wants to say and if it's of value and all the things because like what cool skills and tools and practice and experience am I getting from this that are like transferable into something like public speaking. I don't know if I'm going to do any public speaking. I'm just saying that has been brought to my table and there's a slight pull. So maybe that's the experiment for science. Let's see if Angel answers that call and let's see where that takes you. Like, w- there's so much magic and awe when it comes to a side quest of that nature. Oh, I have no experience, but if you see that in me, let's see where that goes. And oftentimes it's the side quest that lead you to some of your most life-changing and transformative times. And that was another thing that came with the whole moving thing, reminding myself that a lot of life happens in the in between. A lot of transformation happens in the in between. 20 years from now, my friends and we're going to laugh about how I rented out this cutesy little room to dream up some of my biggest dreams. We're going to giggle about giggles from the other room. We're going to giggle about movie nights. We're going to, just sorry, I'm getting emotional because I've never been this present for such goodness. And this is why I believe in this work of being in alignment with one's mind, body, and spirit, because the visceral feeling I'm getting right now, I'm just like drenched in love right now. Not just from my friends opening up their home to me, but being grateful for how I decided the past 2 years were going to go and how I was going to grow and catching a vision of who I wanted to become. I'm feeling drenched in my own love. I think we all deserve to be drenched in our own love. And I think one of the ways to do that is to take on more side quests. And I think more side quests, we can only be ready to answer the call for side quests if we do reframe the lower vibrational thought processes. I don't know how I just tied all that together, but those were supposed to be two separate topics, but they do all go together. It's all It's all in alignment. Let me get quiet and see what else. Cheers to camp. Cheers to side quests. Cheers to being in such alignment that you can feel when something is calling you in the name of love or holding you down in the name of fear. Cheers to honoring yourself in those moments, truly listening to what it is that you need, giving it to yourself in the name of love and care. And if you're incapable, leaning on your people. I know receiving is an art. I am in progress and in practice in that as well. But even that is so necessary. Okay, I think that's it for today. We're going to see. We're going to see how the next few days and next few recordings go. Have a great day.